Hello world, it is the 28th of January 2018 in New Zealand, and I'm going to talk about this myth that implies to women if they have any intervention it means that they have not had a natural birth. When did I start to notice this myth? As I said, I've been involved in childbirth for the past 45 years, and I've traveled globally. I've heard tens of thousands of birth stories. And it's amazing to hear so many women say, I didn't have a natural birth because and then they fill in the blank. I was induced. My birth was augmented. They stripped my membranes. I wasn't allowed out of bed. I wasn't allowed to eat. I had a ventouse, a vacuum. They list, and we have on our Facebook page that list of interventions that midwives gave me when I taught strengthening the partnership workshops. And as I said in the description, there was a midwife in New Zealand who did a study in the early 2000s where she looked at midwifery notes, and she noticed that midwives were saying that every birth was normal or natural as long as it wasn't a cesarean. So then we have this issue. Is that true? And then compounding that is, why are we saying that cesareans, the family that has a cesarean birth, actually isn't then birthing their child? That's mean. So either all births are normal and natural because giving birth normally and naturally follows pregnancy, and we just stop worrying about it. Or we start to say, well, it's only a cesarean that stops the natural birth, but then we're implying to women who've had cesareans that they haven't birthed their babies. And then there's this whole long list of 28 things that women have to avoid in order to have this normal or natural birth. So we've put ourselves in a conundrum. And that conundrum we have put ourselves in, women have. And this is where our trust in Birthing Better and the families that developed the Birthing Better skills stopped doing this in the early 1970s. Our decision, and it wasn't a collective, we didn't sit down in a group and nut this out. It was my working with people over a 15-year period who had a lot of diversity. We come from different religions, different cultures, different viewpoints about childbirth. Each of us has a different birth story or different coming birth story. We live in communities where there are choices, no choices, a hospital we like, a hospital we don't like, a doctor who believes this or doesn't, a midwife who doesn't arrive. All these stories are individual stories. I couldn't do anything about those. So we settled on the one thing we could all do something about, which is we share a human body. Men and women alike, we all blink, we all cough, we can all tighten up our rectum. And pregnancy is a very physical thing in our body. No woman carries their baby in their big toe. So they carry them in their uterus. And every body, every pregnant body is preparing to labor and have a vaginal birth, even if the mind knows we're going to have a non-laboring cesarean. So the hormones are still active. We're all doing the same thing. And every woman who labors is going to have a series of contractions, whether at home or in the hospital, whether she likes it or doesn't. And every woman who has a vaginal birth, their baby's going to come out their vagina. It's not coming out their ear. And any woman who has a cesarean is going to ultimately be prepped for the cesarean. She's going to lie down, and her baby's going to be delivered out of her belly. So we have this human body experience, which we could develop skills around. And when we developed skills, we opted out of the conversation as to whether we were having a normal birth. What we did was we put in place that we were giving birth to our baby. And we gave birth to our baby by using skills. That's what enhanced our birth. We stopped worrying about where we birthed. We stopped worrying about who was present. We stopped worrying about what they did and didn't do to us. We stopped worrying about what happened around us or to us. We just focused on using skills to birth our baby. It was as simple as that. Can anything be more simple? We don't think so, because what's happened, instead of growing a skilled birthing population when we had an opportunity to, from the 50s to the 70s, where the Lamaze, Bradley, and Grantley Dick Reed methods could have been redirected towards all women birthing rather than just those select women who wanted to have a natural, pain-free, normal birth. If we had caught that societally, if our whole society had said, hey, wait a minute, I'm going to use skills regardless of how I birth, and I feel good from having used them, then we wouldn't be where we are now, because everybody for the past 2 generations would have normally and naturally developed and used skills. They would have learned skills in pregnancy because society, authors, books, classes would have said birth skills and birth coaching skills are essential to you because you are birthing your baby, regardless of where you birth, who's present, or what happens. But we didn't do that. And we didn't because the concept of skills was just new. So we've had to have an evolution. But that evolution was thwarted because people threw out the skills, because the skills didn't achieve the normal, pain-free, less medical births that those 3 systems were designed to achieve, which meant people said it didn't work, and then they turned their focus on choice. But choice hasn't worked either, because if you think about it, if the skills-based systems were set up to achieve a normal, pain-free, and less medical birth, trust me, the choice system was set up to do the same thing. It wasn't set up to have more women say, I want an elective cesarean. It wasn't set up for women to say, I want as much pain relief as I can have. That's not what it was set up. Birth advocates aren't advocating for all the interventions in the world, just whatever. And this is the problem. So what we want to do is to help you understand that you are birthing your baby. Okay? You're birthing your baby. Learning any skill is important. If you can just learn a good breathing skill, that's important. If you can learn relaxation skills, that's important. And then what you have to do is to use those skills no matter how your birth unfolds, no matter who's with you, and no matter what happens to you or around you. You have to realize that having your baby is normal and natural, no matter how your baby is born. Now, you want to find out personally whether I believe that we should have 100% cesarean rate. China already has a 50%. In New Zealand, where we have a midwifery-led maternity system, it's more than doubled under continuity of care midwifery. So what is going on? And what's going on was that fatal flaw, is that we attributed skills back then to only that small group of women seeking a normal, natural birth who wanted a pain-free labor with less medical care. We stopped skills from evolving. Birthing Better evolved, but we've been shouted down for years and years and years because the choice-based advocates believe that birth is a natural thing that women know how to do, and that all they need to do is to choose to have less medical care and less interventions. So do you understand this paradox, this conundrum, the irony, the confusion? This is crazy stuff, really, and it can be all resolved very simply when we grow a skilled birthing population for everybody. And when people become skilled, they have to, in their mind, understand that this is their baby's birth. That means use your skills. Use your skills. If you don't birth where you want to birth, use your skills. If you're birthing where you do want to birth, use your skills. If there are people around you you don't want, use your skills. If there are people around you you do want, use your skills. If things happen to you you don't like, use your skills. If things happen to you you adore, use your skills. If the birth didn't unfold the way you had planned or wanted, use your skills. If the birth unfolds exactly as you imagined, use your skills. Use your skills. It's just as simple as that. We have to change how society, the message society gives us, and the way the message society gives us, for any of you who have read The Tipping Point by Malcolm Gladwell, is that the idea changes. So the idea now is that there's a choice-based trend. So you should just make choices and make a birth plan and expect that to happen. So the idea has to change. So the idea has to change to, it's normal for everybody who's pregnant to become skilled. That's just normal and natural. It's what you do. It's essential. It's what you should do when you're pregnant, become skilled. And then you should use your skills to birth your baby, no matter how that birth unfolds. Once that idea is put into the brains of enough people, and how does that happen? Because you tell people. I can tell people. I'm telling you. You have to tell people, right? You have to pass this on. You have to like our page. You have to comment on our page. You have to share this video. So once the idea is formed, the language has to form around it. And so that what I'm doing is giving you the language. I am saying to you that it is essential and natural and normal to prepare your body for birth and learn birth and birth coaching skills, and then use those skills no matter how you give birth. It's normal to do that. It's natural to do that. Do you think that women during the Indonesian tsunami stopped birthing, or the women in Iraq or Syria or anywhere around the world where there's famine and there's war? They're all birthing. Do you think that they would birth better if they felt skilled within themselves, and that their loved ones around them had the skills to help as well? Of course they would. Birth is going to happen to pregnant women. That's what's going to happen. And your baby's birth is important to you. My birth wasn't important to you. Your baby's birth is important to you. How do you get the most out of that birth experience? You do it by being skilled, by choosing to use breathing, relaxation, position skills, any of the other skills you want. Is Birthing Better the only skills-focused resource? No. There's hypnobirthing, hypnobaby, active birth, Lamaze, Bradley, all those. But you have to understand that those do target that few group of women who want a natural and normal birth. And how many women are feeling disappointed after their birth? Let me count them. Millions and millions. Instead of women feeling empowered, they're feeling depressed. Why are they feeling depressed? Because they take hours to create a birth plan that doesn't unfold the way they want. So spend a fraction of those hours learning skills, and then use skills, and you'll come away feeling empowered. It's as simple as that. So the language is all about it's normal and natural becoming skilled. It's not about doing exercises. It's not about gathering information. Do those too. It's not about becoming knowledgeable. That's okay, be knowledgeable. It's about becoming skilled. We need to couple the word skills, to giving birth. Giving birth is such a weak verb. Digging a ditch, you'd understand what that is. Giving birth. What are the skills for giving birth? Good breathing patterns. Good relaxation capabilities when you're uncomfortable. If you labor, positions that make certain that the contractions have a peak. And how do you know? Because they start, they go up, they peak, they come down, and they progress. They get stronger, longer, and more intense over an hour or 2 hours. If they go up and flatten, that tells you, your baby is telling you that the position you are in is not one they like. You're not open, or you have internal tension you need to soften, or you're bending the space, like leaning forward or hands and knees, or standing up, which is bending the space in a way they don't necessarily like. Although standing up is a mixture. You can put the baby in the right space, but you can have so much tension in your butt muscles and around your pelvis that's the tension you've created because you're now weight bearing. So it's really, you need to understand that you have many ways to learn skills. You can have, as a woman who's commenting now, she said that her doula taught her skills. Well, she's fortunate. She has a doula. Some midwives teach skills. You're fortunate if you have the midwife. Obstetricians probably don't. In childbirth classes, if you ask people now how many skills they're learning, they'll say they spent one class learning a little bit of breathing and a little bit of relaxation. Well, how did it work for you? Well, it went out the window. Well, why did it go out the window? Because there isn't an emphasis on you becoming skilled. It's just another bit of information. And if your doula has taught you the skills, did she teach her partner how to coach you? That's the question. And what skills did she teach you? Did she teach you how to breathe in and open up with every inhale? Did she teach you how to soften inside with every exhale? Did she teach you how to read the contractions to make certain that you do position yourself in an open way, reduce internal tension? These are things we need to know. We need to know whether the skills we're learning are going to be usable, adaptable, adjustable, practical, and that we will use them regardless of how we birth our baby. That's what we have to understand. We're just taking a step back into looking at skills and looking at birth as an activity, because we now know 2 generations later that the choices that we are making are not leading enough women to a satisfying birth experience. So if you're learning skills now, think about them. And you can go to our Birthing Better website and take a look at the lessons in our classes. Compare the skills you're learning now with the skills Birthing Better families developed. See whether there's a similarity. You can use all those systems together. So what we want to do is to help the word skills become enlivened, and then we want to begin to look at what skills are really effective that any woman can use to birth her baby under any circumstances. That's what's important. So for the woman who commented, if you want a natural birth, as you said, and your doula taught you the skills, and if that natural birth doesn't unfold, please continue to use the skills your doula taught you. It doesn't matter. You are naturally going to give birth at the end of pregnancy. Your baby's birth is important to you. Use skills to birth your baby. That's what's important, no matter how your birth unfolds. And make certain that your doula helps you do that. But primarily make certain that your doula helps your partner or other help you do that, because that's the person who's going to be a significant person in your baby's life. Your doula isn't. So your doula shouldn't be your birth coach. She should be helping you work together better and reminding you to use skills and encouraging you to use skills no matter how your birth unfolds. So tomorrow we're going to do another Debunking the Myth. I still have quite a long list. And please do take a look at our resource. And please do share these videos. It's important now with the changes in Facebook that Birthing Better become part of the family conversation and not just seen of as a sales product. Which, by the way, we are a charitable trust, which means that anytime you purchase a Birthing Better product, the proceeds from those purchases return to the charitable trust so that we can continue to grow a skilled birthing population around the world. And hi, Melissa. Good girl. You got it. See you later. Let us know how it went, okay? Use your skills no matter what. Bottom line, don't stop. Make a choice. So we'll see you later. Take care. See you tomorrow. Bye-bye.